That is correct. I do have to go over just a couple of safety rules for your safety and comfort while on board the tram this morning. So first off, if you need guest assistance or have a medical emergency, or if you drop something of value off the side of the tram, or if you have any sound or video issues, reach up and grab the red emergency cord that runs along the center of the ceiling of the tram, and I'll be back to assist you as soon as it's safe to do so. Otherwise, during the entire tour, please remain seated. Keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. The studio is private property, and if at any time during the tour you drop your phone or just can't wait to use the restroom, pull the cord and please remain seated. Also, please no smoking of any kind during the tour. And be prepared, our tour today features loud noises, fire effects, and many water effects, so you may get wet. There are also sudden tram movements during the tour, so secure your personal belongings and hold on. Finally, for your safety and those around you, please do not use selfie sticks while on board the tram. Alright folks, with all of that out of the way, we're leaving the theme park behind and we're heading toward a real working studio where over the years we've produced television shows, commercials, music videos, and of course movies. In fact, our legacy began back in 1914, and for over 100 years, many of your favorite films have been made right here at Universal Studios. In fact, we're currently traveling down what we refer to as the Universal Timeline. The posters that you're seeing to the right-hand side of the tram right now, they represent just a fraction of the wide variety of films that Universal Pictures has produced. As for the left-hand side of the tram, of course, you're seeing a lot of construction for our upcoming brand new roller coaster, Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift, which, folks, I'm so excited. I cannot wait for that ride. To find out more details, you can visit universalstudioshollywood.com. It opens in 2026. Now, our founder, Carl Laemmle, officially opened our gates to the public on March 15th, 1915, where he dubbed Universal City the strangest city in the world, which, by the way, we're a real functioning city. So, for instance, the right-hand side of the tram, you're seeing the Universal Studios fire station. Yeah, that's not a set. There's not actors inside. That's a real functioning fire station. In addition, we have medical services, we have a deputy station, we even have our own zip code. Really, the only difference between Universal City and Sheffield, lovely town, pardon me, you folks are coming from today, is that Universal City is entirely dedicated to making films and television shows. That's what we're all about. Now, for the first part of our tour, we're taking a trip to the front lot. And the front lot contains all aspects of film production, including filming itself. In fact, coming up on the left-hand side of the tram, you're going to see a building where filming would take place inside one of our sound stages. Now, that building to the left, that's stage 12. Not only is it the largest sound stage we have here at Universal Studios, it's in fact one of the 10 largest sound stages in the entire world. And here's just a small sample of some of the films that have used soundstage number 12 over the years. Yes, even exterior scenes like that, hey, sometimes they're filmed inside a soundstage. We in Hollywood, we love using sound stages. First off, that's because they're 98% soundproof. With construction often happening a lot, trucks and trailers constantly driving by, for the most part, you won't hear any of that inside the sound stages. And as you saw in that clip, we can really build whatever we want inside them as well, from the tiniest of office cubicles to the largest of mansions. Which, by the way, folks, coming up on the left-hand side of the tram right now, you're going to see two sound stages number 7 and 8. Now, those would have such a set, specifically such a mansion, as that's where they're currently prepping for the 4th and final season of the television show Bel-Air, which airs on Peacock. It's based on the hit 90s series The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, how it's a very dramatic retelling of that story. In fact, here to tell you a little bit more are a couple of its stars, Jabari Banks and Ollie Charlatan.
So what is you put egg on the cheese? You put cheese on the eggs, on the cheese, and it's fine. Whoa, how many seats do you think are in there? I don't know, it's gotta be a lot. Man, we could probably fit the whole Bel Air cast and crew. You know, we gotta get one of these for the mansion. And for sure, you're lucky for y'all, the Banks family mansion lives right here on the Universal lot. Right. Some of Bel Air's most pivotal scenes have been filmed right here. Jabari, what have been your most memorable moments? Oh, I don't know, I mean, there's so many to choose from. You know, I love the foyer set when Will first enters, and at that moment, his life changes forever. What about you? Well, oh, the Bel Air Academy gym set is here too, and I remember you having me sit in that cold ice bath for hours. Yeah. And that was really fun. I still can't feel my toes. No, but seriously, my favorite part of this lot is the talented crew who put it all together. Hair, wardrobe, makeup, set design, props, and transportation. Transpo, yes. Yo, Transpo is the best. Yeah, they have the sweetest rides for us to play with. Actually, speaking of, if we're gonna get a ride like this, we'd better go talk to Transpo now and let these people get back to their tour.
Yeah, that sounds good. As long as I get to drive.
Oh, not if I've got the keys.
Oh, not for me.
Come on, man.
Thanks, Jabari and Ollie. Now, NBC Universal's television history goes back 85 years, with the opening day ceremonies of the 1939 New York World's Fair marking our first broadcast. Since then, we've produced and televised some of the most popular and longest-running shows ever seen on network television, just like The Jeffersons, Columbo, Coach, all filmed right here on Universal Lot. More recently, we're currently working on filming the television show Loot, starring Maya Rudolph, which airs on Apple TV+. Now, coming up on the left-hand side of the tram, you might recognize a certain teddy bear who, celebrating the fact that not only he has 2 movies under his belt named after him, Ted and Ted 2, but also a TV series also named Ted, which is a prequel to the films. By the way, they are currently working on season 2 of Ted. Details are tight later absent, but of course it's produced by Seth MacFarlane, who also voiced the titular character. It's great to have that production back here in Universal Lot. Now, in addition, to the left, we're passing a very important area on the studio lot right now. These are production bungalows, and this is really where the movie magic all begins. This is where producers would gather with writers, A-list actors, directors, come together to figure out the next big film or television show that they want to produce for the big or small screen. Such notable producers that work here include Amy Pascal of Pascal Pictures. She's done such things like Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse for Sony Animation, as well as last year's film Challenger starring Zendaya. Also, the left-hand side of the tram right now, we're passing Mark Platt Productions. Mark Platt is known for Scott Pilgrim's World and Dear Evan Hansen. More recently, though, he produced Wicked, starring Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, which, by the way, won 2 Academy Awards at the Oscars, winning for Best Costume Design as well as Best Production Design. So, congratulations to that whole cast and crew for that huge achievement. If you haven't seen it, by the way, first off, it's fantastic. It's currently streaming on Peacock. Now, in just a moment, we're about to transition from the front lot and head to the back lot portion of our tour, where our large-scale exterior sets are located. Very quickly, though, to the left, you're seeing some final sound stages, soundstage number 25 and 26. These are some of our more recent ones, which is why they look different from our others. There's a writer's room available, there's for hair, wardrobe, makeup, everything that we need to put on a show. Now, currently, Stage 26 is home to St. Dennis Medical, starring David Allen Greer, Whitney Clement Covey, and Allison Tolman. That show airs on NBC and the following day on Peacock. Currently, they're prepping for Season 2 of the television show. Alright, folks, so at this time, we've officially entered our backlot portion of the tour. And if you look to the right-hand side of the tram in just a moment, you'll see what our backlot has in store for us. So here we go, there. So one of the first backlots that we're visiting is our metropolitan area, which has been used for such television shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, starring Andy Samberg and Audrey Broder, as well as The Mindy Project, produced and starring Mindy Kaling. In fact, coming up on the right-hand side of the tram right now, one of the first areas that we're driving by is our Brownstone Street. That was the front of Mindy's apartment complex for that television show. Rather than continually describing things to you, though, why not I quickly show you our Brownstone Street in action from the film Bruce Almighty, starring Jim Carrey.
The dog!
I'm in the shower!
Inside bad, outside good. Inside bad, outside good. Oh, you're done now. Great. B-E-A-U. So if you didn't believe it before, folks, yes, you're in a real functioning movie studio. And now we're heading to, personally, one of my favorite areas on our backlot. This is our Courthouse Square, which has been used for productions like Bye Bye Birdie and To Kill a Mockingbird, starring Gregory Peck. More recently, coming up on the left-hand side of the tram, the building that you're going to see, that was John Hancock High School for the television show Ted. But this whole area is currently dressed as, and in general, best known as Hill Valley from Back to the Future and Back to the Future Part 2. To the left-hand side of the tram, that building's the clock tower that was struck by lightning. Of course, Doc Brown harnessed that lightning, powering the time machine, sending Marty McFly back to the future. Here to tell you more is writer and producer Bob Gale, as well as actor Christopher Lloyd.
It was actually the back lot of the Courthouse Square
that inspired the entire climax to Back to the Future.
I had scenes up in the clock tower on that ledge. It was a ledge about that wide. And I was standing inside looking at the ledge, and I already had vertigo. I just thought there's no way in the world, no way I'm going to stand on that. I was up there for quite a while. Of course, I had a cable.
Now, the reason why it's currently dressed as Hill Valley, come back until May 18th during the weekends and the evening to celebrate the best of sci-fi, fantasy, gaming, and anime at the All-Universal Fan Fest nights. Experience your favorite franchises every event night, including Back to the Future. In this case, you can actually walk around Hill Valley, experience the movie for yourself, having done it myself. It's so cool. To find out more and purchase tickets, visit universalstudioshollywood.com. Now, one of the great things about our metro sets is we can travel great distances in a short amount of time. So, Hill Valley, of course, it's all the way over on the West Coast. Well, voila, we've traveled all the way across the Atlantic Ocean to our London Square. London Square was used as London for Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. Now, I will mention, of course, they did film on location in London in addition to what they filmed right here in the Universal lot. The reason why you likely would have noticed that the post-production process, editing, where we seamlessly stitched together all the scenes that we filmed. We just simply inserted the shots that were filmed right here in the Universal lot, thus blending in, making it look a lot more like London. Now, in addition, these sets are used for more than just scripted films and television shows. It's also rebuilt the obstacle course for American Ninja Warrior, which airs on NBC the following day on Peacock. Specifically, we built the obstacle course for the qualifiers and the semifinals here in the Universal lot. Alright folks, now at this point we've left the concrete jungles behind, and one of our next stops, we're taking a trip to the jungles of Skull Island, where King Kong resides. Here to tell you more is the director of the 2005 film, Peter Jackson.
It's the original King Kong that made me want to direct movies. I saw that movie on TV when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I wanted to become a filmmaker. I like films that just take you away from your real life. Sweep you up the Kong does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from, prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island, and it's great to have you along for the ride. Now, we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have your glasses ready. Don't put them on yet, but just have them in your hand because we're about to return to Skull Island.
Now, before we return to Skull Island, folks, a brief reminder at this time to please remain seated at all times, keeping your arms, feet, and legs inside the vehicle. In addition, if you are carrying any belongings with you, now is the time I recommend holding on to those items tightly, and hold them tight in general, as visiting Skull Island, well, sometimes can be a little bit of a bumpy ride.
Thank you for doing bananas out with Kong, guys. Woo!
That was King Kong 360 3D. Everyone, feel free to take off your 3D glasses now. Do please hold on to them, though. That was projected on some of the largest 3D screens in the world that are 40 feet tall and over 180 feet wide. And it was done thanks to director Peter Jackson and the folks over at WhatFX. WhatFX won 7 Academy Awards and worked on such things including a Minecraft movie, Deadpool Wolverine, The Telltale The Last of Us, and Avatar The Way of Water.
The audience is in the middle of the environment. They're looking in all directions. There's creatures coming at them. They're seeing Kong from this side and T-Rexes from the other side.
Working on a movie, we always know that people are looking straight ahead, they're looking at the shot that they're working on.
Here you have to be out there. People looking in all directions.
Also, one of the things about this live, unlike movies that we're used to working on, there's no cuts. Because it's one giant shot. This tram driving along from Skull Island over like a Phoenix drop. This represents the screen that's coming in the
Now, the technology for creating King Kong has really come a long way when you think about it. When the original RKO picture came out back in 1933, that just used an 18-inch figure representing Kong and to fit, at the time, a rough version of stop-motion animation. Of course, when you think of stop-motion animation today, you probably think of fully animated films like the Wallace and Gromit franchise or Tim Burton's Night Before Christmas. Essentially, how it works, they set up the camera in a fixed position, they'll place a figure in front of it, and then just take a photo, then they'll tweak, adjust, move the figure a little bit, take another photo, do that thousands of times and combine it into about 24 frames per second. You'll have, in this case, King Kong look like he's roaming the jungle. Anyway, folks, the left-hand side of the tram right now, you're going to see a parking lot. Okay, not very exciting. One thing I'll point out, though, they have a little bit of a base camp, an area of operations for a production that I'm about to talk about in just a moment, because coming up on the left-hand side of the tram, you're going to see 2 sound stages number 30 and 31. Now, sound stage number 30 gives a little bit about what I'm talking about away, because it has a rather large, iconic V on it. Yes, that's where we're currently prepping for the lives of season 27 of The Voice, which airs on NBC Mondays and Tuesdays, and the following day on Peacock.
Oh, hey there, Studio Tour. I'm Kelsey Ballerini.
And I'm John Legend. Did you know that the Universal Backlot is home to The Voice?
It is, that's right. We taped right here on stage 31, and don't miss our incredible new season every Monday and Tuesday on NBC.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about the new voice coaches, even the new voice coaches.
You see that gorgeous face of his?
We missed you, man.
Go on.
I'm here to put these boys in their place.
Adam's a big baby. So that's how it's gonna be.
The Voice, Monday and Tuesday on NBC and Peacock.
To the left, we're also passing a lovely body of water that we refer to as Park Lake. That lake is more than just display. We have used it for filming as well. In fact, personally, I'm a huge fan of our classic Universal monsters, and it was used for a film that last year celebrated its 70th anniversary. Yes, the creature from the Black Lagoon. All of us at Universal, of course, love our monsters. They make up a huge part of our history, dating back from the 1920s all the way to later this month on May 22nd, when we opened Dark Universe at Universal Epic Universe in Orlando, Florida. And coming up on the right-hand side of the tram right now, this next backlot that we're about to drive through, this is our Little Europe set. It's one of our older backlot sets that we have here on the Universal lot, and as such, it has been home to many of those classic Universal monsters. So, as we start driving through, I want you to picture Boris Karloff's Frankenstein, Bela Lugosi's Dracula, as they both had the chance to prowl through these streets. Now, in addition, the same roads were used for Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. This is Port Royale. When you see Captain Jack Sparrow, played by Johnny Depp, escaping from the authorities, he ducks behind a statue, then fatefully, there's Will Turner's blacksmith shop, played by Orlando Bloom. Yeah, that's right here in Little Europe as well. These streets have also portrayed Paris, France multiple times over the years, including for the television show Gilmore Girls and the 2011 The Muppets movie starring Jason Segel, Amy Adams, and Kermit the Frog. Some of my television comedy fans on board, though, today might still best recognize this, though, as The Good Place.
You, Eleanor Shellstrom, are dead.
Cool.
This location,
The afterlife?
come on. I've never ever seen this. You're in the good place.
I'm not supposed to be here. I can't risk going to the bad place.
Maybe it's not all that bad.
How can I help you?
What is the bad place like?
Well, it doesn't sound awesome.
If you haven't seen The Good Place, by the way, highly recommend it. Fantastic television show with a lot of twists and turns that I won't spoil. Plus, it's created by Michael Schur, who also co-created Parks and Recreation, which, hey, is another fantastic television show. Now, Little Europe, like I said, it's one of our older backlot sets that we had during Universal Lot. In fact, it was used for a film that is currently 102 years old. That film is The Hunchback of Notre Dame and starred Lon Chaney. For those who don't know Lon Chaney, he was a phenomenal actor known for doing his own makeup and creating these very creepy, almost grotesque characters. He was so good at it. In fact, he was often referred to as the man with 1,000 faces. There was another film that he did, The Phantom of the Opera. Said that they had to have workers in movie theaters on standby with smelling salts because they were worried that the patrons watching the film might faint from horror when they saw Lon Chaney remove his mask. He was also very protective about his makeup secrets. He didn't tell anyone how to do them. Fortunately, not even his own son, Lon Chaney Jr., though he went on to have a phenomenal film career as well, portraying the Wolfman among many other things for Universal. Now, at this time, folks, once again, remember to please remain seated at all times. Keep your arms, feet, and legs inside the vehicle, and please hold on. So we have a very exciting opportunity now, folks. We're actually driving through one of our sound stages, soundstage number 50, where currently they're working on a brand new production. Now, while I can't reveal any details about that production, I will note this is what we call a hot set. What that means is, it's a technical term, everything is camera ready. This is exactly how it's going to look when they resume filming on Monday. Just look at all the tiny details that goes in bringing a location like this, in this case a subway station, to life. Nearby, we have a building called the Edith Head Prop Department. That's where our set dressers have gone to not to worry about that. Happens in California. Coach Driver, please stay seated and hold on. Uh-oh, folks. Just like congratulations, folks! You all just survived Earthquake, the big one. Inspired by a disaster classic film, Earthquake, which was originally released on November 15th of 1974. Earthquake starred Calvin Heston, Richard Rafferty, and Richard Gardner after celebrating its 50th anniversary last year. Now, by the way, there was another disaster classic that was originally supposed to come out just a month after the movie Earthquake was released in December of 1974. Unfortunately, due to difficulties with filming, they had delayed that movie till the following summer. Now, that film went on to become one of the biggest movies of all time, created the term blockbuster, as we all know it today. You've all heard of it. That film, Jaws, directed by Steven Spielberg, which is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. It was released on June 20th of 1975. At this time, folks, very quickly, we're approximately halfway through our tour, so a brief reminder, please stay seated during the entire tour. The studio is private property. If you drop your phone or just can't wait to use the restroom, pull the red cord to get my attention, and I will be back to assist you. But please remain seated and on the tram at all times. Now, I figured right now is the perfect time to take a trip to the beach, and what better beach to visit than Amity Island? Uh-oh. Oh, no, folks, there's a shark in the water. There's a shark in the water. Boy, I have a friend George who's a diver. I sure hope he's in there right now. Oh, no, that's George, isn't it? George, quick, get out of there. There's a shark. Oh, no. Poor George. What a gutsy guy being in there. Oh, I see his guts, too. Great idea, Jim. Yeah, let's pull the tram forward behind this pier. There's that barrel full of bait out into the water that'll... Oh, yep, it's taking the bait. And half the dock with it. I think we need a bigger tram. Look out, there's the shark! And that, everyone, was Jaws. Jaws has been a fan favorite attraction since 1976 when the shark made its backlot debut. There have been a few different iterations of our mechanical shark over the years, starting with one that we affectionately refer to as Carrot Tooth because of its oversized teeth. Now, as for our shark today, who's slowly doing the backstroke, getting ready for his next take, he's a professional, what can I say? His name is Bruce. He's named after the original mechanical shark from the film Jaws, who's in turn named Bruce after Steven Spielberg's attorney. The original mechanical shark for the film infamously was very difficult to work with, which is why they delayed the movie. When they originally built it, they built it for freshwater. It worked like a charm in that case, but they filmed Jaws over Martha's Vineyard out in the Atlantic Ocean. The first time they put it in the salt water, it sank to the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, that was just a small sign of the huge problems they encountered while making the film. For our next stop, folks, we're now headed to our old Mexico set, and it's here where we have a weather demonstration for you. We'll show you how exactly we create weather effects in Hollywood. So I know it's a little bit of a hot day today, so it's the perfect opportunity to cool down a little bit. Here we go, the storm is incoming. Again, that's all Hollywood magic. That lightning that you're seeing right now, that's just strobe lighting. As for the thunder, typically we don't add sound effects into the post-production process. Our primary goal on set would be to record our actors' dialogue. There's the rain. No fancy technology involved to creating rain. It's coming in a high-powered sprinkler. It probably does most heavy lifting at things. Or heavy falling, I could say. And for those of you taking photos or recording, yeah, I see a couple of phones out. You might notice, isn't rain a little bit difficult to capture on camera? It never quite comes out the way you want it to. Well, normally what we love doing, we love filming rain during the nighttime. That way you can place background lighting all over the place to make it pop a little bit more. For later on, when you're filming, watching the scene at home. Boy, this is a heavy storm. I sure hope... Oh, hang on, folks. Looks like we have a flash flood. For the studio tour, Flash Flood, created back in 1968. Now, that area has been used for filming as well. It was used for the music video for Lady Gaga's song Judas, as well as the film Big Fat Liar, starring Frank Muniz, Amanda Bynes, and Paul Giamatti. Well, we're continuing our trip into the Wild West. For our next stop, we're heading to our Wild West town known as Six Points. Now, we call this town Six Points because back during the silent era of filmmaking, this street had 6 different roads connected to it. Honestly, it's much larger than it is today. Every road, much like this one, had its own bank, its own saloon, its own jail, all of the film locations you would need to make a Western. They were actually filmed 6 movies here simultaneously because it was the silent era. They didn't have to worry about sound bleeding over to other productions. You might recognize these streets if you watch Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That film starred Leonardo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, and Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt, in fact, won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his work in that role. This boy Leonardo DiCaprio playing Rick Dalton, who was dropped off to set very upset with the way his career is going, but fortunately did have a young Julia Butters comfort him. One minor thing to note about 6 Points, by the way, a lot of the brickwork that you're seeing throughout the buildings, not real brick. It would be very time-consuming to lay out real brick, and these sets occasionally go through quick turnaround times. We're constantly using filming. So instead, we have a plastic molding, which looks a lot like brick, which we can set up, film where you have to, and then tear down as need be, really, whatever the next production requires. Now, to the right, you're seeing a little bit more of our western town. This area is our Denver Street. Denver Street was transformed in the 1800s Australia for the film Saving Mr. Banks. Those sequences starred Colin Farrell, lead role he might have more recently seen as Oz Cobblepot in The Penguin for HBO. At this time, though, you may notice we're doing a tiny bit of backtracking. Very briefly, we're driving by Amity Island from Jaws once again. Now, this gives me the chance to bring up director Steven Spielberg, as he played a very important role in bringing Jaws to the studio tour. In fact, instead of me talk about it, I'll just let the man speak for himself.
The Jaws ride was almost the inevitable result of the size of the box office when Jaws first opened in June of 1975. And that was really the first time I ever got involved in the creation of a ride. It was a great honor to be invited into a creative circle of tremendous designers at Universal that were trying to figure out how to replicate what the movie had done to audiences in a real way by building a physical shark that would come out of the water and terrify tourists as they were sitting in the crowd. And the most amazing thing about the Jaws ride is it is exactly as it was from the time it was first placed on the Universal lot. There have been tweaks, of course, over the years, but it is essentially what the designers and myself all envisioned and created.
Now, folks, this next area that we're visiting has been very busy for the past couple of months or so. Coming up on the left-hand side of the tram, you're going to see our suburban neighborhood, known as Colonial Street. Best known as Wisteria Lane for Desperate Housewives. Currently, they're working on a brand new television show called The Burbs, which will star Keke Palmer and come to Peacock. It's based on the 80s film of the same name, which starred Tom Hanks. In fact, to the left-hand side of the tram right now, all these vehicles that you're seeing, like that Hinkley Hills sanitation garbage truck, those are all picture cars for The Burbs. Picture cars are literally any plane, train, automobile that you see on camera at any given point. In fact, even our own Universal Studio Tour Tram has been a picture car as well. For my fans of cars now, we're now driving by some of our more well-known picture cars. For instance, coming up on the left-hand side of the tram, you're going to see Fred and Barney's vehicles from the Flintstones, starring John Goodman and Rick Moranis. Those vehicles aren't made of wood or stone, by the way. They're made out of foam, rubber, and fiberglass. In addition, coming up on the left, the yellow Camaro, that's Bumblebee from Transformers. And over to the right-hand side of the tram, the tan 1930s Duesenberg was driven by Academy Award-winning actor Brendan Fraser for The Mummy Returns. If anyone's feeling a little bit tired right now, well, don't worry, I thought of that. We're arriving now at the Bates Motel from Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, where there are 12 rooms with 12 vacancies. So I figured right now is the perfect chance to take a nice long nap and, oh, hang on, that's, Norman Bates. I wonder what he's up to right now. Oh, that's odd. No worries, I'm sure he'll help us get settled in just a moment. Hopefully no one mind's sharing a room. I know we're... Hang on. Is that a dead body? How about you guys? I'm suddenly pretty freaked out. I sure hope he doesn't spot... Oh, he noticed us. Hi Norman, don't worry, we didn't see anything. We can... Yep, drive Jim, drive! Oh, that was a close one, folks. Never mind, forget the nap. We're gonna keep on rolling along. We'll grab a coffee after the tour instead, or a hot chocolate, your choice. Oh, he's still watching too. Oh no. Sorry for disturbing you, Norman. We won't tell anyone what we saw today. For our next stop, folks, we're heading into the set for War of the Worlds, which was directed by Steven Spielberg and starred Tom Cruise and Dakota Fanning. Over the left-hand side of the tram, that plane that you're seeing, that is a real 747, though it was decommissioned before it was used for filming. Here to tell you more is production designer Rick Carter, as well as director Steven Spielberg. It is all designed around a vision experience.
You said to them to sit down and talk about where he was. But I really for 7.7 right in a big way. Because it's just something you don't see.
What do you want to do? Listen, I want you to close your eyes, okay? Now closed. Let me get in. Get in.
Folks, we're now 10 minutes away from the end of our tour, and we will be returning to the theme park shortly. Just remember to pull the red emergency cord if you need assistance, and please remain seated at all times. At Universal, we've had the opportunity to work with a lot of iconic film directors. One of the more recent ones would happen to be Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele won an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay for writing the film Get Out, which was also his directorial debut. And right now, folks, we're heading inside the set from one of his more recent films. From the film Nope, we're heading inside Jupiter's Claim. Who better to tell you more about this location than writer and director Jordan Peele?
Movie magic only happens when a team of collaborators, often in the hundreds, work together to take an impossible notion and bring it to life. This is Jupiter's Claim, a nostalgic, small-time Southern California amusement park owned by former child star Ricky Juke Park. Over there, look into the winking window and have your picture taken just like the kids in that old 90s movie K-Share. That's what this whole place is loosely based on. Remember that one? No? Well, a little further down, you can see the brand new Star Lasso Experience. Built to showcase an unbelievable new live show. It's not looking so live anymore. Anyway, behind this Hollywood fantasy, the gold rush frontier town lies a simple hotspot. What's a bad miracle? Welcome to the world of no.
One of the final locations we'll be driving by on our tour today, coming up on the right-hand side of the tram, you're going to see a massive blue screen. We refer to that area as Falls Lake. Now, Falls Lake incorporates both what we call practical effects and digital effects. Practical effects are things that happen on set, anything physical. It might involve the use of puppetry, makeup, something to trick the lens of the camera. In this case, Falls Lake has a water tank. That can be filled to about 2.7 millions of gallons of water. Now, as for digital effects, that happens during the post-production process using CGI. And with that massive blue screen to the right-hand side of the tram, we can digitally transpose any background that we require for a certain sequence. Now, keeping those both things in mind and combining them, we can create moments like this one, which we did for the film Sully, starring Tom Hanks and directed by Clint Eastwood.
Evacuate.
Yep, filmed right inside Falls Lake. Rather incredible, completely transforming this area in Southern California, making it look like it's the Hudson River instead. All that being said, folks, our tour is about to come to an end today. I want to thank you all for joining us here at the world-famous studio tour. I'll leave you with this. Of course, we've had a long-time collaboration with director Steven Spielberg, having had the opportunity to work with him on such things like E.T. and Schindler's List, and I just want the man to share for himself about how he got his start here in Universal and why today he calls it home.
My entire career began with my relationship with Universal Studios just as a high school kid on a tour bus. Remember, in those days, there weren't trams, there were buses called the Gray Line Tour Bus. And I was so excited and thrilled to be on the lot. This is my first time ever on a movie studio lot. And during a bathroom break, I hid in the bathroom, and when everybody left to get back on the bus, I waited another 15 minutes until I'm sure the bus left, and then I had the entire lot to myself that day. And in those days, movie lots were so crowded because all movies were made on film lots. Today they're made all over the world, on locations, but most of it was focused in those days, in the 60s, on the film lots. So nobody noticed me when I was going around from soundstage to soundstage, and I really felt, in my own young way, I owned the lot and had the most amazing day of my life.
So yes, just like you all did today, you started off simply by taking a tour here at Universal Studios. Now again, thank you all for joining us here at the world famous studio tour. I hope you gained a certain appreciation and understanding about how exactly we make some of your favorite films and television shows today. To our past members, a very special thanks to you for joining us today. If you're not a past member, head to the Universal box office to see how you can upgrade today's ticket to an annual pass so you can come back again and again. Also, make sure you download the Universal Studios Hollywood app. That's where you'll confirm the park closes today at 6 o'clock p.m. Check for wait times, do local food ordering, and so much more. And for this end of the these Universal movies and television shows that we've seen on the tour today, you can visit uphe.com or ask one of our retail stores. Now folks, as we head into the unload area, just wait for the tram to come to a complete stop before standing up, at which point our studio tour ambassador...
Thank you so much for watching this studio tour video. If you liked it, like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Until next time, stay tuned.
Open those tram gates.